Fill out your tourney brackets now in the Fox Sports Radio Bracket Challenge. Visit foxsportsradio.com to register. Fill out your bracket and get the rules. Compete against Fox Sports Radio hosts like yours truly and my partner Rob Parker and fellow listeners to see who has the best bracket. The winning bracket wins the ultimate college sports trip for you and a friend with a $2,000 Graduate Hotels gift card, a $1,500 travel credit, and a basketball swag bag. Wow. Sounds tremendous. The foxsportsradio.com bracket challenge is now live and is presented by Graduate Hotels, where college fans stay. Also by Tractor Supply. And Rob, we are going to stay with Kyrie Irving and discuss this. That shot, Rob, let me say this first about that shot. That was one of the best game-winning shots in the history of the league. Now, I'm taking out playoffs because obviously, the stakes are much higher in the playoffs. Ray Allen's shot from the corner three against San Antonio in Game 6 of the 2013 finals. Kyrie's shot himself, game winner that gave the Cavs their only championship ever in 2016 and a 3-1 comeback against Golden State. So those are bigger shots and better shots. But regular season, when, there's no playoffs on the line, although seeding and something like that, are at stake here. Rob, that was one of the best game-winning shots I've seen, I think, in the history of the league in the regular season. It was incredible.
I don't know about that.
I'm not saying it was the best.
Okay.
I'm just saying the skill a left-handed running hook shot over 7-foot Nikola Jokic.
And he was there.
From about 20 feet out. It was really close to the three-point line. It was incredible. But players obviously around the league were going crazy, Rob. And Damian Lillard tweeted out that Kyrie is the most skilled player in the history, or basically the most skilled player ever. Now, Chauncey Billups said that a few years ago. He was a point guard coach for the Portland Trailblazers. Jay Williams, former Duke superstar, played in the league for a few years. Now he's a broadcaster. He said it recently. Where are you at on this, Rob?
I don't think I could. I think he's highly skilled. For me to say he's the most skilled, I don't think I could make a fair assessment to say he's the most skilled. And I'm trying to be fair with it from the standpoint that I just didn't see everybody enough to say that without question. I think he's highly skilled, and I've always said ball handling, tremendous. But to say he's the most skilled player, I can't say that. I can't say it. I can't.
Here's what I'd say. Where I agree with you is that it's hard to pick the most skilled player ever. It's hard.
It just is, right? That's,
but what I will say is this: I can't give it to Kyrie. I think he's in the highest tier. I'm going to give you 5 guys that I think are all on that ultimate tier, at the top tier when it comes to skills. And before I do that, Rob, you've heard me say this before. This is what I mean when I say Kyrie Irving is or certainly will be an icon. He is a legend. Now, I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer, first ballot. I think you probably agree with me.
No, I disagree.
You disagree? That makes my argument even better, because I do think he's first ballot.
But I do believe, Chris, that and
you don't even think he's a Hall of Famer?
No, that's not it. I just think that there'll be some people who hold some of the stuff that's going on against him. I'm not saying that it's right, but I think that there's a chance he might have to wait to get into the Hall of Fame. That's all I'm saying. Now, if he has another situation between now and the end of his career, or if he doesn't, that could change, Chris. But I'm just saying.
Dennis Rodman was about as controversial as they come. You might be right, but we've talked about the media being unbiased. as unbiased as you can be.
I've said it. I bring up the Barry Bonds all the time.
Right.
He was terrible to the writers, Chris. He won 7 MVPs, and the writers voted for Barry Bonds every time. Okay. So there's that. But then when it came time for the Hall of Fame, there were people.
Well, but that's due to
I know,
PD.
and I'm just saying that there are people who hold, and it depends on how his career ends up. Is what I'm saying. That there could be.
But you're not
people,
saying it's based on basketball.
No.
Because that's what we talk about now.
No,
basketball
but you get me on
you got him as a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Okay.
But you get me. I'm saying that.
I hear you.
Okay.
My point is this. His legend is going to, unless he wins another championship or two, his legend is going to far outweigh his accomplishments as a basketball player. I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, so I'm not saying he hasn't accomplished a lot. He has. But Rob, Pistol Pete Maravich's legend is bigger than Pistol Pete actually was as a player. Would you agree? Like, Pistol Pete was great, don't get me wrong. But if you really go back and look at it, never won, never came close to winning. But was his skill, his ability was right up there. And so he is a legend. Kyrie Irving, people going to be talking about this dude for decades. As, man, that dude was, most people probably won't have him in their top 10 point guards of all time, Rob. But
I agree with that.
Going to
Isn't
be
that crazy? Right. Yep.
And he's going to be a legend. So I'm going to give you guys, when we talk about skills, we're talking about shooting ability,
dribbling,
ball handling ability. I do think Kyrie's the best ball handler in the history of the league.
He's a tremendous finisher. I might be the best.
Yep. Finishing is a skill, and passing ability. And I'm going to give you my list of guys at that top tier. And, Steph Curry. And I put Steph above Kyrie in terms of skill. He's obviously a better shooter. Kyrie's a great shooter, but he's obviously better, Steph is. Ball handling, Kyrie's got the edge, but Steph is a top 10, maybe top 5 ball handler of all time. Passing, I would give Steph the advantage. He's averaged 8.5 assists in his career. He's averaged 7.5 assists, for a season in his career. Kyrie's never even averaged 7 assists a game. And I just think I've seen Steph make some tremendous passes where I think he's a better passer. And finisher, Steph's a great finisher, but Kyrie's I think is a better finisher.
I agree.
But I would give, and Steph, has led the league in, free throw shooting. That is skill. But free throw shooting is a skill. But Kyrie's never led the league in anything.
Yeah, but the only thing is he is a 50, 40, 90 guy, right? And there's only been
in what? In a season, but not
No, but I'm just saying, there's only been like Rob G, can you look it up? There's only been like 5 or 6 guys to do it, and they're all it ain't
some of these other guys are on this list. Steve Nash. Steve Nash is a great shooter. Didn't shoot a lot, but he shot over 40% from 3. Like, he was a great shooter. I got Steph. I'm not saying Steve Nash ahead of Kyrie, but this is my upper tier. Steph, Nash, Kyrie, Chris Paul. Now, he doesn't shoot the 3 as well, but the mid-range jumper is sick. Ball handling, passing, all that. Isaiah Thomas, the legend, Rob, in Detroit. How you going to say he's not right up there? And then Pistol Pete, Rob. Pistol Pete was skilled as a mug. Shot it, handle was crazy, incredible passer. So it's hard to pick who's the top. But I think those guys are. Kyrie is, what I'll give him is he is in that upper tier of most skilled players ever. And they're all point guards, but you expect the point guards, obviously they're going to be the best ball handlers, generally the best passers. And, nowadays you got a lot of them that can shoot the heck out of the ball. So, And Isaiah, as you know, Rob, in Detroit was a tremendous finisher. And the thing is, Isaiah was finishing in the best era of big men in the league. Patrick Ewing, not really Shaq as much because he was later. Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning, Dikembe Mutombo, David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, like all these shot blockers. And Rob, you remember that when that game was played at that time, it was played closer to the paint. Everything was around the paint. So Isaiah was finishing in traffic. You're not finishing as much in traffic nowadays. There's one or two guys there. So you got to put him up there. But I got Kyrie in that top tier, but I can't say he's at number one.
Yeah. And we looked it up, Chris. Steph and Kyrie both were one time. 9 players have done it, the 50, 40, 90. Yep. 50% from the field, 40% from 3, and 90 from the free throw line.
Nash did it 4 times.
Unbelievable. You talked about Nash. That's pretty impressive.
You got to put him in there.
And there's only 9 people, Chris.
And some people might throw Stockton in there. I mean, Stockton wasn't fancy.
No.
But he could shoot. He could pass. He could handle. I mean, so it's tough to say.
Yeah,
Kyrie's
I'm just saying, it's just hard. It's hard only because it's, even from a scout standpoint, you could say he's highly skilled, Chris. He's one of the best. But to say without question he's the most skilled player, I just think that's such an arbitrary distinction.
Well, it's totally arbitrary. Yeah. I mean, and you can, like you've said with Antonio, it's arguable.
It is,
but
right.
It's like who's the best dunker? I mean, this is probably even more arbitrary maybe than that. I mean, but that's clearly arbitrary as well. I think part of why guys are saying he's the best is because of his, like I said, he's got more flair and he's more dynamic than a Nash, than a Stockton, right? Now Isaiah and then a Chris Paul. But Pistol Pete, Isaiah, Steph, Kyrie, they all flashy, and that adds to, probably adds a little something to us saying, oh, he's the most skilled. But Kyrie's up there, man. The dude is phenomenal. And this year, Rob, and, you mentioned obviously he's had a ton of off the court, issues. And this year he's been all that Dallas could ask for. He hasn't been quite as healthy as you'd want. But for him, he's been very healthy for his career. And no incidents, Rob, off the court.
No, you haven't heard. I haven't heard of Pete.
Tremendously.
No.
Yeah.
It's all been about basketball, and I think that's good. I'm glad that things calmed down because he's a tremendous player, and people should be worried about his basketball player. Yeah, I've never seen him as a mean-spirited guy.
Nah, I look at Kyrie as just a guy that is curious, good-hearted, and he is, as he's learning, reading and learning, and some of the stuff might be off, but as he's learning and figuring things out, he's doing it in the fishbowl of the NBA. I know guys, Rob, who, I'm sure you do too, who in their 20s and early 30s were figuring things out. They might be changing religions. They might be, getting into more history, maybe becoming more Afrocentric if they're black.
But that's all.
A lot of guys go through that, but they do it anonymously, right? Not with the whole NBA basketball world watching.
Yeah, but the only other thing too, and I think that's where you can do that, but when you represent other people too, which he does, is where this is where you can get in trouble. Like you're not Joe Regular. You represent a lot of organizations, companies, Chris, and that's what you sign up for when you put a uniform on that says Brooklyn on the front, not, you know what I mean? Or you say, or it has the NBA patch, or your sneakers say Nike on them. That's what you sign up for that.
Well, that's where I think
that's the disconnect.
And again,
that's
obviously
all.
There's some growth that's, positive and non-controversial, and there's some that's controversial.
Right.
But it's what's important to you. There's things in my life that everybody don't agree with that I'm not bucking down for nothing. And I don't care if the company don't like it, then do something with me.
Right.
But I mean, you got to stand for what you believe in. And so, but he's changing, he's growing in the midst of, right in front of everybody's faces. So